Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gentry leaderboard. We are jumping in the middle of a game here between Lars and Sander Rijkaard. First and foremost, I would like to apologize for the appalling quality of the video. In exchange, you get a good look at me. That's because our webcams are misconfigured, and honestly, that's a fancy term for I brought the wrong one, and that's why you are stuck with this awesome shimmering thing. I'll try to change them around for the next round because this looks pretty bad, but not sure how that will look. So we have Lars, what seems to be on green white. I'm not sure yet. Green black. I could be Explorer, and Sander on ESPER control. Yeah, there we go. Let's get started with the good stuff. Cloud Blazer hits the fray. Ice Tea Green. Cloud Blazer hits the fray, draws Sander up to a few cards. Let's hope that this is the turning point for him here. That's still up. No. We're gonna get there, people, I swear. Not sure why the webcam is showing through. Everything's moving and not in the right way. There we go. Let's go with this. This is a quickie setup because Outpost always deletes my program, and because we're building up from zero. We have a bunch of ravenous chupacabras making their impact on this game from both sides here, illustrating why it is such a good card in this format. Zealot coming in. That's not the Zealot. This Zealot coming in for Lars, further solidifying his board, while Sander is looking for a answer here. Starting to look dire, but depending on which version of the deck he is playing, Sander should have access to a bunch of sweepers. Could have access, that is, to a bunch of sweepers. I just realized I don't have my chat in the screen at this point, so I have no idea if any of you already said something. Let's assume you didn't. Suck. Now we have to move this over. Get the chat in. There we go. Okay, and now we have eyes on the chat as well. So if you have any questions, remarks, requests, whatever, just dump them in the chat and I will try to address them as soon as possible. With some more ravenous chupacabras making their impact known. Yep. And now and Lars already on the offensive. Possibly for lethal here. So let's see how that shapes up. Okay. Okay, we have something else to play with.
Finish him!
Okay, and we are into sideboarding, but as you know,
ain't nobody got time for that.
So let's just hope and say yes. I am going to test all the silly sounds, and yes, I do realize that I'm going to be annoying some people with them, but you know, sometimes you just have to stay epic. At least this way I have some way to introduce you guys, because I'm a hilarious guy, Renault.
Nope.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm not. What else do we have here? I have so many toys to play with. Yep, we have quite a crowd here today. What else do we have?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Okay, so apparently the sounds are working. Like I said, this is my experimenting evening. I'll be subjected to my torment. Okay, so for those who are actually here to watch some magic, welcome. We are in round 1 of the Gentry leaderboard event. We are watching Lars playing black-green. Looks to be explore deck against Sander's ESPER enters the battlefield / blink deck. Very established deck in the meta game that's been played by quite a few of our more experienced players. The advantages for Lars in playing against this type of deck is that he should be quite prepared for it and should have quite a good idea how to attack back in order to
finish him.
You know. In the meantime, we're expecting Sander to branch out. I don't know if the camera hang is only on my screen or also on your screens, but this is quite unfortunate. Doesn't record any dropped frames, so I am going to assume that you guys can still follow what I cannot while I restart that webcam. There we go. Still in between games. I assume they mulliganed in the meantime. Okay, so how many cards are we taking? That is 7 cards for each player, so we have not missed any mulligans yet, it seems. And we are off to the races in game 2. Island for Sander and a tapped desert for Lars. Opt is the first card to get cast, so Sander setting up his draws. You'll often see more experienced player holding on to opts for a more late game implementations, but if you already know what you need, then
ain't nobody got time for that.
And we have the Zealot offering its own card advantage and searching engine for Lars. It's quickly turning into quite a ubiquitous card in our format, a second opt for Sander. So, guess he's looking for something. It took quite a while to decide whether he wanted to keep or not, and in the end he kept it. And there we have a sailor of means. Another staple in our format at this point. Seems like anything Ayala plays turns into a staple sooner or later. Ayala being our resident genius of the format. And Sander already has his fancy looking energy / treasure token coming in with the sailor means. Guess that's not what that guy is used to, but you know.
Don't stop believing.
It's important to believe in yourself and do what you need to do to be a good person. That was a desert of some sort of desert. Let's pick a desert. I'll pick the desert of the indomitable. Jesus Christ, can't talk anymore. I'm usually better at this, guys, I swear. Okay, and usually our image is also better, but guess I can't do much about that. We have a ravenous chupacabra coming in to eat a sailor. I don't think that Sander minds that much. Yeah, he could have sacrificed. He could have sacrificed the treasures to cast something, and now is getting pinged by the zealot. Not the most fearsome of attacks for sure. Sander apparently was digging for those lands with those opts, since he doesn't have a fourth land drop, something that in this control versus mid-range match could cost him dearly. Don't forget, he is already one game down, and follows up with a moment of craving. That's a 2-for-1 for the Ravenous Chupacabra. That's what makes this card so good. If you can push out another card from your opponent's hand after destroying one of their creatures, it's such a big swing in the card advantage department. Not Lars getting ready. Seems like Lars is the one here who has to play the aggro game. Even though he has a ton of card selection and even card advantage hidden in that green-black deck. It really reminds me of old rock decks. And here we have a self-assembler, but the self-assembler is with a negate, stopping the chain here. A negate, an essence, scatter of course. Essence. I really need a producer to do all this shit for me so I can focus on the game. Essence Scatter, there we go. Kapow! And that is a Gonti. Again, one of the staple rares in these ESPER control enter the battlefield decks. Okay, so it's still up to Lars to put the pressure onto Sander. Unless I am completely misunderstanding the power dynamic of these two decks. Both of them have quite the strong mid-game plays and have very strong follow-ups late game. Lars with actually grinding classic card advantage, while Sander is more reliant on card draw. So Lars's will be these tutoring, explore effects, while Sander will need to rely more on draws and things like Gonti. This time the self-assembler does push through and will give them some privacy as they fornicate and multiply into the hands. Okay, but we have a match to play. Self-assemblers jumped into Lars's hand and we will continue. Sander in the tank now knows that he has a stream of 4/4s. He needs to keep into account. And that will not be easy to deal with. No. Guess I only lost the one viewer with my silly antics, but that's okay. That's totally okay. Okay. Sander has that Gonti. Not sure what is under there that he can cast. Passes priority with 2 treasures and 4 mana up. Lars in the meantime developing his board pretty well. Has options, has the safe stream of threats in the self-assemblers going. Yet is thinking. Apparently Sander's side of the board is more menacing than it comes across as. Lars cycling a desert. Before playing a second self-assembler, well, a third one. It's the second one that actually gets to resolve. It's such a demotivating card to get against you as a control player. It's just big enough to put enough pressure on you. And it's just a silly common, you know. It's one of the sideboard packages that you really need to keep into account when you are playing control in this format. It's colorless, so it goes into everything. And Lars is choosing not to attack, so he's afraid of tricks coming from Sander here. Sander usually has the what's it called? Unrelenting stamina. Ooh, but we have a Ravenous Chupacabra. I'm starting to guess that this is a card we're going to see quite often in this matchup. And Lars again forced to mount up some offense. He's been drawing a lot of these deserts at this point. Be interesting if it turns out that he has late game implementations for having a lot of lands in his graveyard. And we have a Chupacabra of our own. Probably eyeing that Gonti, hoping that he can prevent at least the death touch. No. That's interesting. Not really sure why that one needed to go. I bet that sailor of memes is just looking to his left, to his right, sees 2 awesome creatures there and goes,
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I fade.
Exterminate!
Yeah, that's what happened. And we have a Ruin Rats taking over. That's not a Ruin Rats, Ruin Rat. Ruin Rat. But we have a fatal push. Taking care of the Ravenous Chupacabra. Goes over and says,
This is Sparta!
fatal push. So savage. But the first Cloud Blazer has arrived for Sander. It's so many times that we see this deck struggling to stay into the game till it draws Cloud Blazer after Cloud Blazer after Cloud Blazer, generating card advantage while being an evasive body. Sander has been able to lean quite heavily on his uncommons, but that infinite train of self-assemblers. Oh, we have a big daddy there. I think that is Demon of Dark Schemes. Yes, there we go. Demon of Dark Schemes. Trying to give everything -2, but we have a Ruse going.
Nope.
And destroying Siren's Ruse, that is, and trying to destroy the demon while the ability is on the stack. Lars doesn't have anything to do.
Okay.
And wipes up his demon. That ability is, of course, still on the stack. No energy. You were too late for that. And the self-assembler is coming in. So all the uncommons on the table have left, have traded. Lars, hoe noemt dat beest?
Het is een Wild Walker.
So we have the Wild Walker entering the fray, confirming indeed that this is a explore deck at heart. We haven't seen that much of the deck yet. But at this point,
I came in like a wrecking ball.
it's making its impact. And here we have Gentry again. Ah no, Gentry was still alive. But I don't know what the other card is. Could be a Scarab God. I'm used to a QWERTY keyboard now. This is all wrong. Ik heb nog. So, Chupacabra getting rid of the Scarab God. At least I think that's what it is. And now Lars knows he has to get onto the offensive. has some disenchant effect already on the table in that thrashing Brontodon. Sander is just planning on riding that Scarabot to victory. Lars should have only one thought in his mind right now.
Finish him!
Because that's how you beat the Scarabot, by beating the player behind it. He has 15 life to work with, so it's gonna be hard. So will the power of a black-green explore deck be enough to run over a single effin Scarabot? 6 mana for... I think that's a Vraska? Yeah, that's a Vraska. Vaska Relic Seeker, so has enough loyalty to get rid of the Scarab God one more time. Considering his attacks, realizing that the attack back to his Vraska will steal him a turn. And Sander probably has to sacrifice the Gonti. Well, not sacrifice, it has dead touch, so it even trades with whatever it touches there. Sander, yeah. Offering up that Gonti to the self-assembler. Takes 3 from the Thrashing Brontodon. And returns this Scarab God to his hand. Okay, let's see if he has anything to do besides just plopping that Scarab God back on the table. It's not a bad play at all, and many a match has been finished based on that.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Yeah, that's Scarab God for you, the single card that manages to steal away games. I think that's a Branch Walker. Yep. And Lars is just forced to keep onto the offensive. Will need to offer up his Vraska to get rid of the Scarab God here, which is exactly what he does. Oh, but we have a Siren's Ruse. Saving. Apparently there's a Judge Call. So apparently there is a question on what the rest of the ability does. Whether or not he gets a treasure, which won't be the case since this is a targeted ability. So is this... Question whether or not he gets a treasure, and he doesn't since it's targeted. Yep. Okay, and Lars forced to try and go around the Scarab God right now, so that guy is going to stick around for a while. And start using its ability. Lars playing another self-assembler, using the occasion to give his deck a shuffle to have a look around. He lost his Thrashing Brontodon to the attack though. Ooh. And Sander with the upkeep ability on the stack is activating it to regrow the Demon of Dark Schemes. Which will kill both, yeah, wow, the Branchwalker and the Chupacabra. And that gives him a bunch of extra energy, which he will soon be able to use to regrow creatures. So he'll be able to regrow both creatures with his Scarab God and his Demon of Dark Schemes. Seems pretty good if you ask me. And this looks like Sander firmly in control. He is 0-1 down, remember though. So even after he were to win this one, he will have another round to play, another game to play to decide the match. Okay, Rigoros Chupacabra. Not sure when exactly that is. That was... wow, that was even end of turn. Puts the Scarab God trigger on the stack. Goes shopping, probably for a second Chupacabra. Lars offering up a Zealot or a Brontodon. I think, yeah, you just take a Chupacabra. And the ESPER control deck is in control. Scry's a billion. And I think it even hits for lethal here. That's 5, 6, 13, no? Or is the demon a 5/5? It's a 5/5. So Lars will be dropping to 1 with this attack. Yeah, and scoops them up. Well, that last part was pretty, you know, undeniably And we are going back to the drawing board for these two players. Let's see if some of them reconsider what they want to do with their decks and sideboards. There is some more information. So they might want to reconsider. There's also the change of being on the play versus on the draw, but I don't think that many decks have this as a consideration in this format. In some matchups, duress and comparable discard can be more or less impactful. That's one you could consider, but we don't have anything like the in red-green ramp. We had a 4-drop vampire that stopped you from playing a land. If you were on the play, playing that on turn 3, you could really wreck an opponent's development that way. But I don't think that we have things that are quite as impactful. Barn. Okay, so both players stick with their original configuration, giving their deck a quick little shuffle, and we are ready for game 3, the decider. We don't have that much time anymore, so it's possible that this match will end in a draw here. That would not be fun now, would it? And especially not if people are going to eat clock by mulliganing. Sander is on the play, so he is actually going down a card. It's not that it's not interesting, but okay, let's hope that this next 6 are more interesting. Yep, he is crying. So we are going to game 3. Oh no, yeah, Sander won. He's on the draw. I don't know anything. Desert of the Indomitable versus a shipwreck something. It's a dual land, you know it. A very land-centered start here for both players. Both are fixing and drawing their mana. Both are fixing and drawing their mana, while Sander doesn't have white mana, and Lars only now is playing his second color and a Zealot to start off the game. That's the benefits of knowing your opponent can't really muster that crazy an offense. You get to keep these kinds of hands that are very slow to develop, but offer a lot of advantages if they get to do that. And the Zealot goes onto the offensive. This must be the wet dream for a turn 3 Zealot getting to attack on turn 4. That's a Threshing Brontodon. Doesn't have that much to do in this matchup, but against most other white decks usually does have some value. I'm expecting Sander to playing some cast outs in his deck, but there's just the Silly Sailor being a very good stop sign for Lars's army. The Zealot pretty much just suicides into it, and the Brontodon just bounces off. Sander having Essence Scatter or Negate mana up for sure, but Lars didn't draw into his mana for self-assembler. So can't even run that out. The attack comes through from Lars. I'm not sure if Sander already passed it on. I think they're no longer... yes. So he blocked. I'm curious to see what the life totals actually are, because they're noting it down on the pads instead of... There we go. So Lars did have a plan with that attack. Even if all it served to do was using a moment of craving to get rid of a sailor of memes. We'll talk about this. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted here. We have a champion of sorts entering the fray. Oh my god, there's 43 champions in Magic. Why? Why are there 43 champions in Magic? Now the best part is going to be that what he played won't even be a champion. No, it is. A Sunscourge champion. I think I've had to look this card up every time that I play it. We have the unnatural... What? Natural... Isn't it unnatural stamina? Apparently it's a different kind. Supernatural. It's not unnatural, it's supernatural, guys. It's completely different. Okay. Supernatural stamina takes out the thrashing Brontodon. I hope that means that Sander has some enchantment he wants to push through. And here we have the aforementioned Essence Scatter on the self-assembler, hiding away behind some treasures to give the mana. A very strong position for Sander for sure. People keep bouncing into our webcam, is driving me crazy. As these players are in the slow grind for dominance, these Sunscourge champions from Sander aren't to be mocked in this matchup. They aren't true card advantage because their Eternalize requires them to cycle. To discard. Ooh, we have a second one. We have the Combo Breaker. Let's make it even more dramatic. I have another one.
Nope.
Yeah, there we go.
Nope.
Essence Scatter nopes the demon of the dark schemes right off the battlefield. Come on, Lars.
Don't stop believing.
You can do this. So, Sunscorch champions coming in on the offensive this early into the game is a pretty strong sign that the ESPER player is in firm control. The life total isn't actually that friendly towards Lars either. But he's still going on to the offensive, keeping his Death Toucher back. the Ruin Rat that could. And we get a Branch Walker again. Lars' deck is capable of having some pretty sick draws if he gets his Wild Growth Walker onto the battlefield, the 1/3 that gets +1/+1 counters and gets him life whenever another creature explores. But so far we haven't really seen this come through, and it looks more like he's playing a mediocre green-black deck. We also haven't seen him bring out the any what's his face duresses. Again, usually a pretty strong tool of black decks against control decks. Now here against Sander's ESPER it is a lot worse because there's so little non-creature spells in this deck, but taking out the Ruse or Nescent Scatter can be a pretty big deal. Sander just keeps putting on the pressure, choosing not to use a Ruin Rat because I assume he doesn't want to deal with a 4/4 champion. Sander trying to fight the life gain plan now with a Cartouche of Ambition, giving lifelink, but also putting a -1/-1 counter on one of the Sunscorched champions, making it a 1/2. Still annoying enough not to be able to trade with the Zealot, but apparently Sander has something here. Is this another Ruse? Yes, a Siren's Ruse to foil all the plans, but we have a moment of craving to fight this back. A lot of back and forth on the stack here in this match, which I'm really happy to see. Like, decks in Gentry from time to time have the tendency to be extremely straightforward, and these guys showing that there's a lot more to the format than some people expect. Boards looking more favorable for Lars at this point, but on a healthy life total and knowing that there is a Sunscorch chain starting, there might be less good times in the future for Lars. Also, greetings back to St. Nicholas, the most awesome guys, after Kent of course, in this entire format. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys will do in the Invitational, and I think it's going to be a little something like this.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Or, you know, maybe not. Maybe it's gonna be very scary and end.
How about no?
Like that. We'll see. It's gonna be exciting. This weekend, Gentry Invitational, 7 streamed matches. Yeah. We are in time in this round. So again, round 1. This is game 3 between Lars and Sander. We have another Cartouche going. Oh, that's not the Cartouche. That was one deeper. To allow even the Zealot to attack. The problem is that with the life totals that we have and Cartouches coming back, I think one of those Sunscorched champions should have been exiled since it was eternalized. Let me check. Sander, heb jij zo'n champion al ge-eternalized? Ja. Dan moet hij niet in je graveyard liggen. Ja. Just making sure we don't get any misunderstandings there. Yeah, the stream should be pretty interesting to watch. I'm really looking forward to a few of the decks. I hope some people will bring some fascinating stuff to display at the Invitational. But I wouldn't fault them for keeping any super secret tech for the Open that comes after it. There's going to be pretty huge payouts for that as well. We are still negotiating extras for the goodie box, but we already know it's going to be at least a long box, 2 deck boxes, a pack of sleeves and a promo card, and we have more on the way. So there'll be announcements for that. Now Lars should be in his penultimate attack here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 damage. So there's no chance for him whatsoever to punch through that life total on Sander's side. And in the process going up to unreachable levels as well. So looking like a clear draw here. Second Cloud Blazer. These Cloud Blazers, they tend to start a chain once they actually start coming. So that's cool, but I'm not sure who's hiding behind the username Entelian. From seeing it's almost a year back, I assume it's Michiel, but I'm not sure. Ooh, that's even a foil Cloud Blazer. Yeah, tapping some creature. Oh, Bram. Right. Welcome, Bram. Yeah, it's been a while that we've seen you too. You actually came to some of our Thursday evening events even. So yeah, you're missed here as well. Not actually sure exactly how many players we have right now, but I think we're somewhere in the mid-20s. Is the Floris? Floris, hoeveel spelers zijn er? Let's quickly check as we're going into the 5th, I assume, round. Yeah, 24 players. Pretty nice. We have a Siren's Ruse and a handshake. So we are going to a draw. I'm gonna give you guys some music while I go get some